McLaren just crossed a line that might have destroyed their championship hopes before the season even ends. What happened at Monza wasn't just a team order, it was McLaren picking sides in a title fight, and the evidence shows they've created a problem that could tear their team apart. Oscar Piastri led Lando Norris into the final laps of the Italian Grand Prix. He'd just jumped his teammate in the pits with a clean stop of 1.9 seconds. No drama. And then the call came. Let Lando pass. McLaren had played a dangerous game all race, hoping for a late safety car and delaying both their drivers' pit stops. In theory, it was bold. In practice, it backfired spectacularly. Piastri boxed first on lap 45 with that smooth 1.9-second stop. He was ahead of Ferrari's Charles Leclerc as McLaren intended. Then came Norris just one lap later, but disaster struck. A front right wheel gun failure dragged his stop out to 5.9 seconds, nearly 4 seconds slower than Oscar's. That was all it took. Norris rejoined behind and McLaren panicked. From the pit wall came the now infamous order. Oscar's engineer, Tom Stallard, said calmly, "Oscar, this is a bit like Hungary last year. We pitted in this order for team reasons. Please let Lando pass and then you are free to race." Oscar's voice, though controlled, cracked with frustration. "I mean, we said a slow pit stop was part of racing, so I don't really get what's changed here. But if you really want me to do it, then I'll do it." Remember, this wasn't Hungary 2024. That time, the undercut was so powerful, Norris would have passed anyway. But at Monza, without the pit stop error, Piastri was in second, fair and square. It was racing until it wasn't. This is where the story flips from racing to politics. The order looked like fairness, like balancing out the bad luck. But scratch a little deeper, and it starts to feel like something else, like favoritism, like stage management. Norris himself didn't fight it. He wasn't celebrating either. After his engineer Will Joseph apologized over the radio, Lando responded with silence. Later, when speaking to press, he admitted, "Every now and again, we make mistakes as a team. Today was one of them. I did everything I could today. I tried to fight against Max. We had a good race and he came out on top." That sounds diplomatic. Too diplomatic. Almost like someone who knows not to rattle the cage when things are finally going his way. McLaren tried to sell the Hungary reference, but Oscar wasn't buying it, and neither are the fans. Because in Hungary, the order made sense tactically. At Monza, it just looked like fixing something that didn't need to be fixed. Was it fair? Maybe. But was it consistent with McLaren's own racing principles? That's the uncomfortable question. Oscar ended the race quietly. Bit of a tough one. Once the rear calmed down a bit, then it was all right. Bit lively through the race. Thanks for the effort. Not the easiest of weekends. That's not anger, that's something worse. That's quiet resignation. And over in the Red Bull garage, Max Verstappen watched the drama unfold with a smirk. After his engineer told him about the swap, Max laughed. Just because he had a slow stop. His engineer, Giampier Lambiase, tried to keep it neutral. It's not our business, but I guess it keeps it fair between the drivers in terms of the championship. But that smirk said it all. Max knows. Everyone knows. McLaren just opened the door to a storm. The expert analysis that emerged afterward has been damning. Ed Straw nailed it in his post-race analysis. This wasn't a call McLaren needed to make. The slow stop was crucial, and that is part of racing. Ben Anderson was even more critical, calling it needless and silly. Trying to stage manage this world championship. Scott Mitchell warned clearly. McLaren has now intervened directly to address an accidental intervention, and that opens the door for everything to be questioned. There's an unspoken rule in F1, you race until you can't, until team orders, strategy walls, or engine maps tell you otherwise. But there's another rule too, just as real, just as fierce. You earn your place, especially in a title fight. Oscar Piastri earned that place at Monza, a clean stop, perfect timing. He didn't undercut Lando with malice or trickery. The team chose to box him first, and they did it to protect him from Charles Leclerc. So when Lando's pit stop went wrong, that was just racing, right? Wrong. Apparently, because McLaren hit rewind, they reversed reality. They reached back into the race and said, "No, actually Lando should be there, let's fix it." And that's when everything shifted. The fans see it, the drivers feel it. And McLaren, they're now facing a philosophical crisis. We've been here before, haven't we? Mercedes tried to hold harmony with Hamilton and Rosberg. It ended in warfare. Ferrari played kingmaker games between Leclerc and Vettel. Chaos. Red Bull, well, ask Mark Webber how team orders felt when they were always for the other guy. McLaren, whether they admit it or not, just stepped onto that tightrope. Valentine Karunji mockingly wrote, "Next race, McLaren must send out Piastri with a faulty engine to make up for what happened at Zandvoort. Or order Norris to go off into the grass." Ridiculous? Sure, but that's where you end up when fairness becomes manipulation. McLaren's trying to be perfect in a sport built on chaos, and the irony, they might have made things worse. If you're Oscar Piastri, how do you trust your team again in a close fight? How do you know your success won't be rewritten in the name of fairness? If you're Lando Norris, how do you not wonder if your career-long loyalty is being rewarded with quiet bias? McLaren might say they're balancing luck, but they've now set a dangerous precedent. What happens next time? What if a mechanical glitch gifts Oscar a win? Do they give it back to Lando out of fairness? What if Piastri loses a title by 2 points, and this decision was the difference? Every stop, every strategy, every call is now under suspicion. Is it fair or is it favoritism? The title fight is tightening. Verstappen's lead was reduced to 31 points but remains intact. McLaren's Constructor Championship hopes hang in the balance. Will Oscar fight back harder? Will McLaren dare issue another order? Will Lando return the favor if the tables turn? The championship they're trying to save might already be compromised. Oscar Piastri isn't making noise. Not yet. But the sigh in his voice said more than 1,000 angry words. Lando Norris, usually cheerful and cheeky, kept it cold. No celebration, just a shrug. "I felt like I was there for quite a long time. I tried to fight against Max. We had a good race and he came out on top. No mention of Oscar, no thanks for the place, just business." McLaren tried to fix one moment of bad luck, but have they broken their entire championship campaign? In trying to be fair, McLaren might have been anything but. Because now the question isn't just why they did it. It's what happens next time. What if Oscar's leading again? What if it's for the win, not second place? What if he's the one who gets screwed by a slow stop? Will Norris return the favor? This could define McLaren's championship campaign. Internal warfare while fighting Verstappen externally. The team that wanted to avoid Rosberg-Hamilton might have created exactly that scenario. Once a team fixes results, every future call is suspect, eroding Piastri's trust, muddying Norris's wins, and setting up a fractured championship campaign. In F1, trust is harder to rebuild than any car, and McLaren just discovered that the hard way.